Dorinda Medley is reacting to accusations from Lindsay Hubbard saying that Dorinda leaked her pregnancy now that it's finally out, and we're going to get into all of that. Bethenny Frankel talks about how she got gutted by Paul, her ex-fiance, and his new girlfriend, and how she was recently embarrassed by them. And we have Teresa Giudice talking or opening up about Joe Giudice cheating on her during their marriage. So let's get into it. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. Hi guys, welcome on in. Happy Monday. I hope you guys had a wonderful 4th of July weekend. Oh, you're like, Led Zeppelin, cool shirt. Thank you. Yes, I am wearing a Led Zeppelin shirt today. I don't know any Led Zeppelin songs, so you can drag me for that. I know you drag me for the Nirvana shirts, but I actually like Nirvana. You can drag me for the Metallica shirts. I know a little bit of Metallica. I don't really know Led Zeppelin. And then I got this shirt because it was cute and it was hot and I needed to wear something that was nice and cool. So I got it because it was hot out and this at least looked nice and looked cool and fun for summer. And then I looked up some Led Zeppelin songs and I was like, yeah, I actually don't know any of these songs and I don't care to. So drag me, Monique. Let's see. We have a lot to get into. Oh, but first, okay. Yes, we have a lot to get into, but I just wanted to also say thank you. Because I found out over the weekend, No Filter had ranked in the Spotify top 50 podcasts charts in the top 50 Spotify in the US, in the UK, and in Australia. So on the top 50 charts, I was number 14 in the US, number 14 out of Spotify's top 50, number 43 out of Spotify's top 50 in the UK, and then number 17 on the Spotify top 50 in Australia. So I was like, okay, let's get it. We doing the boss things today, honey. I was like, okay, let's get it, girl. Get it, girl. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. I love you. I appreciate you. I love you. Appreciate you. You have to know Stairway to Heaven. I'm sure if it played, yeah, I'd know Stairway to Heaven. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, especially because I feel like the Spotify charts are so much tougher to rank in than the Apple charts. Because the Apple charts, well, I mean, granted, to be fair, the Apple charts are also, what is happening here? Like a pimple or something right here. Sorry. The Apple charts, I feel like, are easier to rank in if you're a newer podcast, which that's why I'm proud when I stay in the Apple charts because I've had No Filter for 9 years now. So when I'm able to stay in those charts, Apple prioritizes newer podcasts. So I'm grateful to still be on the Apple charts. But Apple is top 200. Spotify is top 50. So the fact that I can be in the top 50 is very, very gratifying. So thank you guys. I appreciate all the love. Okay. Do we want to start with, let's start with Teresa Giudice and then we'll get into Lindsay Hubbard and then we'll get into the Bethenny stuff because the Bethenny stuff is actually, it's going to spark an interesting conversation. So Teresa Giudice was just on Carlos King's podcast. She had a live podcast with Carlos King out in or I think it was in Atlantic City. And he released the podcast episode. And in it, she talks about Joe Giudice. And she talks about how, because he asks her about cheating. She talks about a lot of different things. I haven't listened to the full thing, but I've heard clips. And this morning I was trying to listen to it as much as I could. Which she talks about the start of Jersey, because obviously she started Real Houses of New Jersey with Carlos King as one of the producers. And so it's kind of nice to see them talk about these things and reflect about them now. But when it comes to Joe Giudice specifically, Carlos King asks her about the moment, remember when they're at the vineyard and he calls her the see you next Tuesday word and he calls her a bitch, Joe Giudice. And then she said that when producers or Andy Cohen called her, I guess to give her a heads up, she didn't believe them. And she's like, no, my husband's never called me that. She's like, when you have a fight with your spouse and you have a fight with your partner, that you know what names they call you. And he's never called me that word. He's never said that about me. He's never called me that, whatever. Carlos King's like, okay, but what was your reaction when you saw it? And she was like, I was so angry at him. She's like, I wasn't hurt. she thinks a lot about her daughters, and I think that's why she did a lot of what she did in protecting Joe, was to protect the girls from, some of the shit that Joe was doing. She wanted to make sure their image of their dad wasn't tainted. It's kind of what I gathered from it. But so she talks about how she made Joe sleep on the couch for 2 weeks after that aired, because obviously that's embarrassing for your husband to be on national television and to call you that. And at first she wanted to blame production. She's like, no, you edited that in. That's not true. And then it aired, and yeah, it was true. So she was not happy with Joe. But she says that when it comes to Joe cheating, because she claims that he was talking to a business partner and it wasn't a girlfriend. And when it comes to whether or not he cheated on her, she said she has no proof and no evidence, but there are 2 women that she did speculate that he may have been sleeping with. One of them was his secretary. Remember in the season 5 reunion? That was a crazy reunion with Teresa in the green pageant dress, and Caroline was in the blue dress, and then that's when Teresa's like blubber, 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 and Jacqueline's in the red dress. And I think Melissa had a pink dress on, a soft pink dress. But that reunion is when Jacqueline outed, and she's like, you caught your husband banging the secretary on his desk. And now it seems maybe there was some truth to it. Maybe Teresa didn't actually catch them in action, but maybe she thought she caught something. But Teresa's like, no, the 2 women that I thought that he was cheating with, season 4 reunion. Oh, that's right. You're right. It was season 4, not season 5, because I got it mixed up because I was thinking season 3 was the one that Jacqueline skipped, but I forgot Melissa and Kathy came in season 3, not season 4. I was thinking they came in season 4 and not 5. Or sorry, 4 and 5 were those scenes. Remember, because they filmed those 2 seasons back to back. And I got it confused. You are correct. It was the season 4 reunion. And so Jacqueline said that, he was banging the secretary behind your back, whatever. And Teresa now says that the secretary she believed was sleeping with Joe, but she never had any concrete proof. And she went up to both of the women and she confronted them, and she's like, are you sleeping with my husband? She's like, because if it were me, if I were fucking someone's husband, I would tell them. I'd be like, yeah, I'm fucking your husband, and you should probably leave him because I'm fucking your husband. And I'm like, when I tell you, this is the real Teresa, and I like this Teresa. This Teresa is hardcore. This Teresa is ruthless and toothless. And I was here for it. Christopher says season 5 and 6 were the boring seasons. Season 5 wasn't the boring season. Season 5 was the remember when the fight between Joe and Joe. That season 5 was good. Season 6 is when it got boring. Season 5 is when they had that. Remember, they were at that retreat, and then they got into that big old fight. And then Melissa's like, stop hurting us. We're begging you on our knees. Stop hurting us. That was season 5. And then season 6 is when they got rid of Jacqueline and Caroline. They left the show because Manzo'd with Children came on. And then they brought in the twins, remember, Teresa and Nicole. And then they brought in Amber Marchese. That was season 6. Season 6, I would say, was not my favorite. But so anyway, if anybody loves, remember when Joe got his hair dye? Yeah, Gorga had his dark hair dye and it got all over everybody. It was like, why do we have dark stuff? Remember, because that was when Kathy and Jacqueline were trying to bring the families, and even Caroline, they were trying to bring all the families back together. Anyway, so she says that she never has any concrete evidence that Joe ever cheated on her, but she did suspect that he cheated on her, and she did confront him about it. She confronted the 2 women. The 2 women denied it. I love that she was just she also talks about how when she was in high school, she got into fights. She remembers one of her ex-boyfriends was at a club and talking to another girl. So she went up to the other girl and clocked her in the face. She's like, yeah, I just went up to her and I punched her in the face. And I'm like, this is the Patterson Teresa I actually like. The Teresa we get on the show that's a little more, I don't know. I liked this Teresa. She let her hair down and she was just shooting the shit, and she has a potty mouth. But so she says that to this day, she keeps telling Joe, she's like, Joe, Giudice. She's like, Joe, Juicy Joe, we're divorced now. You can tell me if you cheated on me. And he's like, she says that to this day, he will not ever admit cheating on her. She's like, come on. It sounds like she believes that he was absolutely cheating on her, but she just wants him to own it, and he won't own it. He's he just denies it or deflects from it all the time. So I thought it's a good podcast. what is it called? Um, Reality with the King is what it's called, and it's Carlos King's podcast with Teresa Giudice. It came out last week, and it's good. I would highly recommend you go and give it a listen. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Teresa is a felon by choice. Bless her heart. Aw. She's good TV though. And that's what Carlos King said. She is good TV because she's very honest. And the Manzo sisters, I guess both Teresa and Carlos said, like, the Manzo sisters very much protected each other. They were very much like trying to protect the family. And there were even things that, even when they fought, there were things that they could have brought out, but they never did out of loyalty because they're family. Let me tell you something about my family. Okay. Let's talk about Lindsay Hubbard, and then we can get into Bethenny. So Lindsay Hubbard announced over the weekend that she is pregnant. Dun 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 dun. Shocker. Oh my God. Are we surprised that Lindsay Hubbard is pregnant? What? No, we're not surprised. Why? Because we discussed this on my members only. When was that? Let me actually find out when we got wind of this. I guess now we can talk about all of it. Well, here's the thing. This is why you need to sign up for members only, because you get all the tea well in advance. But let's rewind the tape. It looks like, who's the daddy? I graduate with honors. I bought Nate O'Connor. Okay. Looks like this came out April 25th. So last week of April. Oh wow. So this info has been sitting for a minute. Zack broke the story first. Yeah, I did break the story first, and then I got in trouble for it. But anyway, so yeah, we knew this back in April, and I can say now I can talk about this because the pregnancy's out there, and I'm not outing anybody's pregnancy announcement. But so the story was that it happened, or this came out during a taping of Watch What Happens Live. When Lindsay went and she filmed to Watch What Happens Live, apparently backstage, she'd revealed to someone that she's pregnant and that she was trying to keep it on the low, and she didn't want the information to come out because she was trying to get onto the new season of the Traitors in the US, right? Season 3 just finished taping, but it was going to be going into production in late May. Memorial weekend, right after Memorial weekend is when the new season of Traitors was supposed to tape. Lindsay Hubbard was supposed to be on that new season of the Traitors. I'm so glad we can finally talk about this on the main feed. But so she was apparently, so it looks like in April when we found this out, she was 10 weeks pregnant. She was talking to somebody behind the scenes of Watch What Happens Live. Okay. So me and a few of my detective friends were trying to crack the code and confirm whether or not this was true, because this was starting to circulate online. And there were other reporters and bloggers that were starting to leak details. They'd also heard some of these details. There was even another reporter that I had connected with at that time as well, that I was not particularly super close with, but yep. So this other reporter actually heard about this a few weeks prior to it being overheard behind the scenes of Watch What Happens Live. So it seems like early April is when, murmurs started happening and whispers started happening that Lindsay Hubbard could potentially become pregnant. Then come Watch What Happens Live is when it started to really get out there because people overheard her talking about it and talking about the fact that she wanted to conceal her pregnancy because she was expecting to go in the new season of The Traitors and she didn't want producers to find out, right? This all relates to what's now happening with Dorinda. So ultimately, Lindsay Hubbard does not get brought onto the Traitors, which she was supposed to. And I did have a source that confirmed Lindsay Hubbard was supposed to be on the new season of the Traitors. Then I guess production got wind of her being pregnant. She wasn't allowed to film the show while being pregnant because even though a lot of stuff happens in the castle and whatever, a lot of the physical challenges she wouldn't be able to participate in because she is pregnant and she is with child. Like, you can't put yourself into a situation that could compromise that because you can't participate in the physical, activities. Or if you could, you were limited in terms of what you can do. And obviously it's a liability to have someone that's pregnant participating in physical challenges. Okay. So, yeah, apparently it was being talked about back in April, but her rep and herself, they were denying it because I have friends that are reporters that were asking for comment and asking for her team to comment on whether or not this was true. So much so that, not only did the person that I found out with that had overheard things in on Watch What Happens Live or behind the scenes, but I was also told that she wasn't drinking on Watch What Happens Live, that she had a non-alcoholic beverage, and that the excuse that she used as to why she wasn't drinking was because I believe she said that she was on antibiotics, which is weird because I drink on antibiotics all the time. Well, not that I take antibiotics all the time, but I've taken antibiotics and I've had alcohol with antibiotics. Didn't do anything to me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm just saying I've done it. So that was her excuse, and I kind of feel like Lindsay is the type of gal that would be like, yeah, it's fine. But so that was the excuse that she gave, right? So then I had friends that were trying to figure out whether or not this was true and trying to get comment from Lindsay and her team, and they were denying it, claiming that Lindsay actually was drinking on set and she is not pregnant. And so they were denying. Not no comment, not, didn't respond, but very confidently denied the rumors. And I even knew people that were DMing Lindsay. Also, she was very confidently denying the rumors. Um, it's one thing to not comment on it or say no comment or whatever, but they were lying because now we know she's actually fucking pregnant. Anyway, fast forward, doesn't get Traitors. Sierra gets announced. Sierra replaces her on Traitors, presumably, right? Because I would assume they wouldn't have both of them on Summer House. Weird choice that they went with Sierra, though, but whatever. Now, the news story comes out it's reported that the reason she didn't end up on the Traitors is because Dorinda Medley had informed producers that she was pregnant. And then there was a post on social media after she had announced her pregnancy a few days ago. There was a post that Lindsay had commented on, basically saying she was heartbroken and disappointed that Dorinda would leak this information because she really wanted to participate in Traitors, which then prompted Kate Chastain to jump into the live chat, right? And Kate Chastain had a lengthy statement about it. Let me see. Kate Chastain jumped in because she was not happy about that. And she wrote, honestly, it doesn't matter if Dorinda told producers, because Lindsay said that like it was awful that Dorinda did that to her because, she took that away from her and she wanted to do Traitors, whatever. Kate Chastain said, honestly, it doesn't matter if Dorinda told producers. There's an extremely thorough health exam and extensive testing you have to take before you can do the show, so producers would have found out anyways. Also, a pregnant woman shouldn't want to do those missions. That was kind of my things. It's like, why are you turning yourself into the victim? Because Dorinda, who has since come out, and Dorinda or sources close to Dorinda are denying that Dorinda ever told producers. So they're saying that that's not true. Dorinda didn't out her. So Dorinda's denying it. However, when it comes to Lindsay, I think it's strange that Lindsay even wanted to hide this from producers and wanted to like deceive them. Like part of me was like, I think the reason she wanted to maybe, not talk about being pregnant yet was because she was waiting to be in the second trimester, or she was waiting to make sure, there wasn't another miscarriage because that's something that she struggled with in the past. And that's why I was even like, listen, guys, like, yes, these rumors are out there, but she's denied it. And I think until she confirms it, like, we don't need to speculate on this because, she has suffered a miscarriage in the past and we want to be mindful and respectful of that. Right. But I think Kate Chastain has a point of like, why would you want to do the show knowing that you're pregnant and knowing that there could be a potential risk to the baby by participating in these physical challenges that, I don't think it was, even if Dorinda did out it, I'm not mad at Dorinda. If Dorinda told producers, hey, she's pregnant, I don't think she should do the show because she's pregnant. That's Dorinda being more concerned about Lindsay's pregnancy than Lindsay being concerned. Because again, what I heard about what she said behind the scenes of Watch What Happens Live, Lindsay was saying she didn't want producers to know because she wanted to go and film the Traitors. And what was she going to do? Then suddenly, when she got there to film the Traitors, be like, oh my God, I just, peed on a clear blue and now I found out that I'm pregnant. Like what, which also that was her pregnancy announcement was a clear blue sponsorship. Right before having to go into the summer house, which is now in production again. I don't know. I just feel weird. Like, I don't want to be disrespectful to Lindsay. I've had her on this podcast. I like Lindsay. I enjoy watching her on television. But part of me just feels off about because she's not denying that she was pregnant and she's not denying that she knew she was pregnant. And she's clearly confirming all of these details by saying that it was awful that Dorinda leaked her pregnancy to the producers, which Kate is saying they have to go through all of these extensive, you know, health and and psych evaluations in order to participate in the Traitors, just to make sure that you're fit and able to participate, which is fair. So I don't know. Joe says, "Do you think your Bravo celebrity friend will now talk about it on their podcast? And why is it not hypocritical of that Bravo celebrity friend if they talk about it there?" Well, Joe's referring to the fact that when I had brought this up on my members only originally, which with the context of this is a rumor that's going around online. This is what people are talking about on Twitter, but also here's the context that Lindsay and her team have denied this information. And here are all the details that I'm now revealing here. But this was all I gave the full context on my members only then. There was another Bravo Leb that got wind of that and texted me and said, "Hey, I don't think that it's cool that you're talking about this and talking about Lindsay's pregnancy." And you're saying whether or not this Bravo celebrity may or may not go on their own podcast and talk about this, and is that hypocritical? I would say it's not hypocritical because their point was I was talking about the pregnancy before Lindsay herself had confirmed the pregnancy. So if this Bravo Leb decides to talk about it on their podcast, I don't think that it's hypocritical because now the information's out there. So now that's why I'm talking about all the details about what was going on back in April. But I don't know. I'm kind of not loving that, that she was willing to deceive producers and like planning to see how far she could get into the Traitors, knowing that she was pregnant. And also, then she's going to blame Dorinda and be like, it's Dorinda's fault that I didn't make it on the Traitors. It was awful that Dorinda told producers before I had a chance to tell producers. But it's like, but you were overheard saying you didn't want to confirm your pregnancy publicly because you didn't want producers to find out. Interesting. I'm on Lindsay's side. It's not dangerous to be I'm on Lindsay's side. It's not dangerous to be pregnant and do stuff. No, it's not dangerous to be pregnant and do stuff, but I think there's something unsavory about you wanting to hide your pregnancy in order to do a competition reality show. Like you don't want to tell producers because that could jeopardize your spot on the show rather than jeopardize the health of your baby, That's kind of where I feel. Stacey says, after having a miscarriage before, you would think that she would want to be extra safe and not do this right. That's what I would think. Again, I'm not a woman. I don't who would risk their pregnancy. I don't know. Listen, I'm not a woman. I can't get pregnant. I don't know the details or the intricacies of what it takes to carry a child. I think women are the superior sex. I, will champion women to the end of time. That said, I think, the reason producers would not have allowed her to do it is because of the liability, And I think that that's fair. And the fact that she wanted to conceal that, I'm on Kate Chastain's side and I'm on Dorinda's side. I think even if producers didn't know, but yeah, I would absolutely want to be like, yo, that's not okay. Like she should be extra safe. Plus, she'd be showing by now a baby bump is a dead giveaway. I don't know what the point of that. She was also trying to conceal that because remember she was wearing like real skimpy clothes and she was looking real skinny. I mean, she's been pregnant for a minute. She was just waiting for that clear blue sponsorship money to clear. And also, she was going to have to announce this before having to go into filming the new season of Summer House. So, ooh, I do have another little bit. which probably should be saved for members only, but I don't think I'll say it here. I think I have to save it on members only. Yeah. Just remind me. There's a piece of the pregnancy news and something that happened back in April that I can save for, because I'm curious if it will come up during the filming of Summer House. And it's nothing to do with Lindsay and her pregnancy or her health. Who's the daddy? Oh, I'm glad you asked that. Who's the daddy? I graduate with honors. I bought Nate O'Connor. I did a freestyle, then I got a shout out from Obama. Hold on. Oop, let me. So I was trying to figure out who the daddy was back in April. And so this is what I found. That's truly wild, but we don't know who the daddy is. Let me try to find out. Interesting. Yeah, she told producers she couldn't drink because she was taking a Z-Pack the night of filming Watch Happens Live. Boyfriend, apparently he's a secret. They don't follow each other on social media. He's a UK investor. Yeah, I don't know who he is, but that's all I know about him is he's a UK investor. I'm looking for a guy in finance. 6'5", blue eyes, finance. Her new man who seems rich. Yeah, what details have been revealed about the daddy? Who is the daddy? We sure it's not Carl. It's not Carl. I don't know. Doesn't Lindsay have a boyfriend? She does have a boyfriend. He's a UK investor, from what we heard. The investor invested his seed into Lindsay. That he did. And Paige has come out and she's like, oh my God, isn't it crazy that I said that after this, you were going to find the man of your dreams and you were going to have a baby? And then Paige is like, oh yeah, the power. Look at, I'm scared. I'm shocked at my, how at my manifestation, at how fast my manifestation happened too. Because everyone was talking about that. But yeah. That's what we know about Lindsay and her pregnancy. And listen, she turned her pregnancy into monetization. She's out here doing Clear Blue sponsorships. Not that she is wrong to do that, but I mean, if that's how she's announcing her pregnancy, it's just, it's interesting. It's an interesting choice, especially the week you're going into filming Summer House. Also interesting timing. So she said he's a doctor and a biotech investor. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So yeah. I'm kind of respecting Danielle. She opted out and put her life first. Danielle who? Danielle from Summer House? She opted out of filming the new season of Summer House? I think she got fired. But that's the Lindsay T and that's the Teresa T. Bethenny. Well, actually, it's funny because somebody referenced Rachel Leviss in the live chat, and it's funny because not only was No Filter in the Spotify top 50, but Disaster Daters was on the Apple top 100. Disaster Daters came in at number 28 last week on the Apple top 100, and it's funny because we were just a few spots ahead of Rachel Goes Rogue, which is funny. I was surprised that people are still listening to Rachel Goes Rogue. But yeah, Apple top 100. We came in at 28, and then Rachel came in at 31, which was funny because people are like, "Oh, you even beat Rachel." It's like Rachel's gone rogue. So there we go. If you look on Reddit, they tell his name. It's really easy to find. Oh, weird. They already know who he is. Ooh, see, Reddit be out here doing the damn thing. We don't need to know his name. We don't need to out his name. If she wants to keep that private and if he is a private guy, cool. That said, speaking of privacy, let's talk Bethenny Frankel because Bethenny Frankel went on her podcast, Just Be. Remember, it was Just Be Divorced. Now I think it's Just Be Dating. She's always just being a bunch of things. But so on her podcast, she talks about her split from Paul, her ex-fiance, who she was with they were together for 6 years. So she says that the breakup, she's the one that initiated the breakup. And, but she does make it clear that it was a mutual decision, that like he wasn't really surprised by it. Like they both kind of knew, you know, they both knew that this was kind of the end. Um, and so she's like, yes, I was the one that initiated it, but it was most definitely mutual, and we both kind of saw it coming, which is fair. But then she says that after they broke up, because obviously they just broke up this year, 2024. We're barely starting July 2024. And she says that immediately after they broke up, he started dating Aurora Culpo, who's Olivia Culpo's sister. Olivia Culpo, actress, model, former Miss Universe. I think she's done a few reality shows. She was like on The Masked Singer recently. But so Aurora, her sister, has a podcast. Her podcast is very creatively titled Barely Filtered. Not no filter, but barely filtered. It's like cute. Um, yeah, and she's with Dear Media, which cute. Um, yeah. Anyway, Aurora was dating Paul, and Aurora went on her podcast, and I think she was with Olivia, and they were talking about her relationship with Paul because Dumas had confirmed or had posted a while back that they were spotted making out at a bar in Boston and whatever, right? Doing her thing, living her life, dating Paul. I believe they got together. It was after the first date that he had asked to like get serious with her. And so they had like immediately after, I want to say it was like less than 2 months after he broke up with Bethenny, he was already in a serious relationship with Olivia. And also just thinking of the timeline, right? Bethenny and Paul broke up in like January. So January, okay, so it's February, March, April, May, June. There's a 5-month window in between now and in between when Paul and Bethenny broke up. So within those 5 months, he had met Aurora, went on a date with Aurora, and then immediately jumped into a relationship with Aurora, which to me is kind of cuckoo crazy. Like that's the timeline of that is really fucking fast. And I'm saying that because I'm somebody that's also experiencing something similar. Just wait, because you'll get it all on Disaster Daters. I'm trying to bite my tongue and not say anything now, but with the timeline, when you just the timeline of things and how fast things happen, and you know, the fact that Aurora's already talking about him on her podcast, and so whatever. But Bethenny says that when she found out about this and when she heard about it, because apparently like they were getting serious very quickly and were meeting each other's kids. And Bethany's like, when I found out about this and when I heard about this, it was embarrassing and it was gutting because it was disrespectful to the fact that I'd been in a relationship with this man for the last 6 years. And now you're already outing intimate details of your relationship with, you know, this other woman. Like and I don't know. I'm a little conflicted because, well, first of all, it appears that since Aurora went and talked about the relationship on her podcast on her relationship with Paul on her podcast, that they've since broken up. And Bethenny kind of alluded to it was probably the fact that she talked about it on her podcast that Paul was not happy with that. So Paul and Aurora have seemingly broken up and are no longer together. And Bethenny is just talking about how, and she even says that she reached out to Aurora and DM'd her and like told her like, hey, you should be respectful of the previous girlfriends, like the other people that were in, an ex's life, which I don't know if I agree with Bethenny on. Like, I understand Bethenny of her being like, this felt disrespectful because I had to listen and see, things very publicly. And that was hurtful because I loved this man, you know? But then on the flip side, it's like, but Aurora doesn't owe Bethenny anything, right? She doesn't owe her any level of respect. She doesn't know Bethenny. Like, you're the ex. Like, if anything, she, should be upset with Paul. But Paul, from what it seems, really wants to stay off the radar and wants to keep the relationship off the radar. And Bethany's like, which is interesting because I'm a very low key person, which she's kind of not. 'Cause she was always trying to put Paul on TikTok and she was always doing TikToks. And, it wasn't as, you know, it wasn't as um it wasn't as bad. I don't know. Bethany shouldn't listen to her podcast. Yeah, I agree, I agree. People are saying, "Well, Bethenny initiated the breakup." I know, you guys. I get it. But yeah, Bethenny's not low key, Michelle. I agree with you. There's nothing low key about Bethenny at all. She's not off the radar. She's very much on the radar. But I understand her being hurt about this, right? Like if I see something, I can, with somebody, that's in a new relationship, whatever, I can remove myself from that. I can unfollow them. I cannot respond to it. I cannot look at it. I can hide their content, whatever. Bethenny can do the same thing when it comes to this new relationship with Aurora. But the fact that she thinks that there should be, I mean, I guess, yes, there is, but, like, you don't owe the ex anything. I'm, like, trying to, like, understand Bethany's side of being like, well, it is kind of respectful to, like, not be super out there and super like Shannon Bedore and, Alexis Bellino. We're gonna see that play out. We just got a new opening teaser clip for the new season of Real Housewives of Orange County, but, like, you know, it's it's like, should Alexis be more mindful of not flaunting her relationship out of respect for Shannon Bedore? But it's like, you don't know Shannon, you don't owe her anything. Like, yes, you could be more respectful, but like, should you be? Is that your place to be more respectful of the ex girlfriend? Like, why? What do you owe her? You don't owe her anything. You don't even know her. So I feel like Aurora doesn't owe Bethenny anything. And the fact that Bethany's even going on her podcast and talking about Aurora and talking about how fast they had moved and now alluding to the fact that it seems they've broken up or whatever. Like, I don't think that there's much of a difference. Like, why does the new girlfriend have to respect the ex girlfriend? And why is that same standard not, you know, also valid for Bethany to not talk about the new girlfriend at all? Bethany can't, you know, I don't know. Michelle says low key, as in ranting outside of Chanel and throwing used cosmetics around TJ Maxx. Yeah. Christopher says, I think those situations are different. Maxime says, as if Bethany would be considerate if it was the other way around. Bethany would absolutely not be considerate, Max. I agree with you. If Bethany were the new girlfriend, she'd be like, she would absolutely not be respectful of the ex-girlfriend. Joe says Bethany is just dragging Aurora into this because her Chanel TikTok views probably have died down and she wants the topic to be talked about. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Bethany would have been respectful at all of anyone's, you know, new relationship. Stacey, if she broke up with him, she said it was mutual, not like Shannon Bedore. Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, that's a good point. Shannon did not break up with John. John broke up with Shannon, and Shannon was going through a tough time. So I think, yes, there's a level of maybe grace you can have for Shannon knowing that she's going through a tough time. Whereas in this case, Bethany ended things with Paul, which she's admitting that she's the one that ended things, even though it was a mutual breakup. So yeah, but that's also saying like, oh, Lindsay shouldn't announce her pregnancy out of respect for Carl. Like, why does Lindsay's life now have to revolve around Carl if he broke up with her and they're no longer together? You know? She should talk about Lumen instead. Who's Lumen? Seeing Lumen. Who's Lumen? Oh, Luann. Um, I don't want to be with you, but how dare you move on? I mean, yeah, I think it was he moved on very fast. I don't know why I'm trying to defend or understand Bethany's side. Like he just moved on very fast, and then to very quickly now have to see him so publicly in this new relationship where they're making out in bars and they're talking about details of their relationship in public. I get it because he seems to be a very private person. So Bethany having to now see all of these things very publicly, I can understand how that may be hurtful to Bethany and she may feel embarrassed by it, but also there's no like you're not owed anything. So yeah, I mean he's allowed to move on, but I think it was more of the you know velocity of which he moved on. It was very quick. It was rather rapid. you know Wanda says Bethany should have nothing to say. She didn't have a baby or anything with the man. An ex is an ex. Yeah, I agree. I agree, guys. No, I'm not. I don't disagree with any of your points. I think it's all very valid. Um, Joe says, Zach, how do you resonate with this Bethany situation? Should this be a cameo request? Um, You'll hear about it on Disaster Daters. It's been an interesting week. I'll just tell you that. And so I get it. You can be shocked when you see things happen publicly that you are not really prepared for. And then there are contradictions and stuff. But listen, if you guys do want a cameo, I'm happy to you can book a cameo with me anytime. Doesn't mean I'm gonna give you specific details on any things, but I mean, what episode of Disaster Daters we haven't it's the episode that we'll be taping this week, so it probably won't air for a couple weeks. But yeah. Yeah, we saw your reaction last week. You didn't rate my reaction to what? I've been off the radar for the past few days. I took the weekend off. I've spent a lot of family time and time at home with my dogs. So you haven't seen my reactions to anything. Yes, we saw your reaction. What reaction to what? Bethenny would say, get over it. Yeah, I agree. Bethenny would not care about the new one at all. Also, I'm not going to tell you what episode of Disaster Daters to listen to. Just, leave me alone. The Rebound Reckoning. Oh God, is that going to be her new thing? That's going to be her new. That's going to be her new situation. Who is this guy you've been cheating on me with? There is no guy. I am fully single. There is no. The roster is clear. I am living my life. Joe says, speaking of, guys also support and watch the Pop Report. Plenty of updates there. Yes, the Pop Report. Oh, that's what you're saying. My reaction to that. Joe, I can tell you, a lot's changed since we taped that episode of the Pop Report. So I am very single. Just going to throw that out there. So like I said, it was a very interesting week. There were a lot of things that were coming at me that were a little rattling. And so we went into seclusion over the weekend, but we'll get into all of it. But yeah, I would probably absolutely listen to the Pop Report, support and subscribe to the Pop Report, but any information about my personal life that was disclosed on the Pop Report, I can tell you, is null and void. All right. I think that's everything. We have the new OC teaser that came out, which is how the premiere opens. You can hear me and Kempire. If you listen closely, you'll hear us breaking the news in that little sizzle. So, woo, 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 woo. So what I'm hearing is bring the strong drinks to members only this week. Yeah, sure. Sounds like a good idea. Actually, I do owe you guys a members only. So I'm going to give you guys a members only, since I didn't do one last week because it was 4th of July and it was a holiday weekend. Did you send Adam a Venmo for his birthday? Why would I send Adam a Venmo for his birthday? Wasn't he celebrating it at like a bar that he was like asking people to come to? Listen, happy birthday to him. I have no shade to throw at him. I'm tired of. I have no shade to throw today. But happy birthday to him. I'm not sending him a Venmo though. That I will keep my coin. But yeah, can't wait to see the cat fighting on OC with Jesus, Jugs, and Shannon. I know. Yes, heard your voice. I thought that was your own trailer. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm being messy. I know you're always messy. It's great that you and Kempire keep getting the shout outs on Bravo shows. I know. Kemp and I are always texting about. I'm like, oh my God, bitch, we're in the new teaser again. So yeah. Uh-oh. Is shit going down right now? Shit goes down when there's $1 billion on the elevator. No. Uh-oh. There's some shit going down, you guys. Lindsay is not happy. Oh. People have known since April. Oop, this is going to make members only interesting this week. Oh my God, I miss Monique. Drag me, Monique. Drag me. I can't anymore with Bethenny. She's a know-it-all and the best at everything, a legend in her own mind. Yeah, Bethenny is the biggest legend in her own mind. Joe says, okay, good. At least it's not another Stassi Schroeder dark spiral moment. Dark passenger moment. And You're gonna have to wait for disaster. I don't think I had a dark. Well, no. I don't know. We'll discuss it on Disaster Daters. Max says, has Adam ever been in a teaser? I don't believe so. But also, to be fair, I do believe he has publicly gone on record and said that he has been offered to be to have his show featured on Bravo, and he has declined. I believe that is what he has said, that he has declined that. I, on the other hand, am much thirstier and have never declined that. And I think that's why I've now been featured 6 times. Vanderpump Rules, Summer House, Real Houses of Beverly Hills, and now OC. Ha! I get premieres, I get finales, I get trailers, I get openers. So, listen, I'm very grateful to Bravo. And I ain't gonna say no to nothing. Okay? I'm gonna collect my check and be like, yes. Stassi's a character. She looks like a basic B, but she has a dark side. Yeah, didn't she get engaged in a cemetery? She did. Yes, she did. When does the Bally film again? I believe it's going into production this week, next week. So, yeah. All right. I think that's all I got for you. But I hope you guys had a great 4th of July. I hope you have a great rest of your Monday. I'll be live again chatting with you on Tuesday morning. We have a new episode of the Pop Report dropping on Wednesday. We have a new episode of Disaster Daters dropping on Tuesday as well. So be sure to subscribe to all my podcasts, No Filter, Disaster Daters, and the Pop Report. You can book a personalized message from me on Cameo. You can just search Zack Peter on Cameo, or my handle on Cameo is at Just Plain Zack. So you can book a Cameo. I can give a shout out for your business, a shout out for your bestie, a birthday message, whatever you want. You want me to yell at your husband? I'll yell at your husband. You want me to break up with someone? If you're the secretary begging Joe Giudice and you want me to let Teresa Giudice, or Teresa, what's her last name now? It's not Giudice anymore. Now she's Teresa Ruelas. That's not a good name. Yeah, we'll see. All right. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Monday. Ciao for now. Give me a follow, Just Plain Zack. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Be sure to send some love to Disaster Daters and the Pop Report. And if you're enjoying the podcast, hit the like button on your way out on YouTube, leave a review on Apple or on Spotify, and I will talk to you later, Skater. Ciao for now. Bye. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, bye.